Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.wordpress.com. Thank you for joining me again today, and we are working with this stamp set today, and dies is a bundle. This is Friendly Flamingo. Really cute, isn't it? And it's a distinctive stamp, so you've got all this extra detail built in to the set, which gives you all this lovely shading, and there are some coordinating dies. Now that's not all of them, there's a couple missing which we're going to use today, but there's dies to coordinate with this leaf sort of cluster, the large flamingo, the vine, and the little flowers, those ones as well. And then there's also the dies to make kind of a decoupaged kind of a flamingo without having to stamp it, so that doesn't necessarily fit over the stamped image. That's something that you can use in partnership. So loads of scope with this, some really cute little sentiments as well. Okay, so that's what we're using. So those are obviously available in the online store, links will be in the description. So we're going to change the colours up slightly, so we're still sort of wanting that tropical theme, but obviously the Flirty Flamingo ink kind of called out to be used for this, but I wanted to just sort of step outside that box a little bit. So instead of Flirty Flamingo, we're going to go with Coastal Cabana and Crushed Curry as the panel there. Okay, this is slightly smaller than the sample one. I just thought it would pop a bit more with the Coastal Cabana. So that's a regular size car base. Crushed Curry panel is 3 by 5 3/4, and then the Whisper White is 2 7/8 by 4 5/8. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. And we'll put these bits to one side because we want to do a little bit of stamping on this. So I'm just gonna bring in some scraps so that I can go off the top there. And we're going to use Soft Sea Foam and Granny Apple Green as our background there. So we're going to use the Granny Apple first, and we've got this really cute sort of vine leaf design, which we're going to put in the background. Okay, so I want the scrap paper because I'm going to go off the top there and just have it sort of dangling at different heights across the back of my card, like so. Clean that off, and we're going to put in some soft sea foam as well, just to build up that background a little bit. So really nice thing about photopolymer stamps is that you can see through them, so we can do all our positioning in here really easily. And then I think I want a long one over here, so if you go off the page it just looks a little bit more natural. I'm going to have them all at different lengths, and maybe we'll just put one more in here, and they're going to overlap, and that doesn't matter one iota. I think it looks quite natural looking like that. And the what I'm going to do is stamp an extra one of those onto some extra card to die cut out. Already got a couple die cut already, but this is going to end up being die cut, so I wanted to just show you that. Okay, we can move that out of the way now. We'll leave this to one side for a moment until we're ready to use it. So we've already stamped and die cut this, and we need to stamp our flamingo. So we are going to use the Flirty Flamingo for this. Now I have a bit of a top tip here because distinctive stamps are great, really fantastic. I don't know whether you can see, there's all sorts of like that texture on there. It's fantastic, isn't it? Now if you've got a really moist ink pad, you do find that the ink will settle into some of that detail, and you'll lose the detail when you stamp it. So I actually find that using one of the little ink daubers to apply the ink gives you a bit of a better result. Okay, it depends on how wet your ink pad is. If you've got a brand new ink pad or you haven't used it much, and you're not getting the results that you want, there's a hair somewhere that I can't get off. There we are. Then try this technique, or stamping off the first layer and using second generation ink. So you can try both of those, but this is the method that I prefer. And we'll get our flamingo stamped. So this is our E block. It is quite large, so if you do have trouble holding these large blocks, then a Stamparatus would be fantastic for you. Pretty sure you'd get a free item with a Stamparatus actually. I think they're £45 or thereabouts, maybe 46. So there we are, we've got our flamingo, which we can now lay our die over, which is really easy to do. Okay, just press that in place with some washi, and we can do the same with this one. I would normally get my head right over the top of that, but obviously you don't want to see the top of my head on there. And we can just run this through our die cut machine. Nice and simple. Round and back again. Oops, and it's die cut so easily it just falls out. So I've actually done a total of 3 of those, and we've got our flamingo. Okay, we are going to need this scrap paper because I actually need to die cut a sentiment, so we'll come back to that when we need it. Okay, let's close this ink pad before I have a calamity. So if we bring in our elements again, so what I want to do is layer this onto my crushed curry panel. Now if you wanted to add some ribbon or something, you could at this point. Still might actually, I might bring in my favourite tulle ribbon just to give it a bit of texture. Okay, my flamingo guy is going to go somewhere there. So in the set there's this lovely little sort of puddle or ripply bit that we can put in, so if that's going to fit just there. So I've got it in slightly the wrong place on the original sample, so just want to see if I can get that right. I'm going to use Coastal Cabana. I've just missed a bit on the stamp there. And put that in place around there somewhere. Okay. And while we've got the Coastal Cabana out, I will stamp the sentiment too. Hoping your day is as amazing as you are. Set that to one side for a second. Just want to just make sure I'm happy with my my layering. So that's looking good. So mini dimensionals is what we need for sticking down this fellow, because he's got you know, little sort of tiny skinny areas there. So I'm going to grab a poker tool to help me get these off this release paper. and I found that one will just fit on his knees there and one will fit on his foot, just about, if you turn it in the right direction. And then we can just put a couple on his body. A couple being 3, obviously. Okay. And these ones we will need some dimensionals on as well. So we'll just put one on for now and we'll see how we get on with that. Just doing them at different levels because I want them at different points on the card. So we'll leave it at that for the moment and we'll see if we need any more. And we will bring in this tulle ribbon just to add some texture. Right, we can just secure this with a knot. So I'm just going to tie that quickly. And I'm going to pull that right over to that side, out of the way for the time being. And we're going to put this on our card. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave that bit sort of free. It should then slide around a little bit if we need it to, underneath the card. We'll add our flamingo. Ooh. I was doing some stuff earlier and I think I've got a little bit of glue stickiness on my fingers. So we're going to put him in place there, and then our vines are going to go over the top. So he's kind of, you know, creeping through these sort of weeping vines there. I don't know why he's a boy. I don't know why I've decided he's a boy. So just deciding where it needs to go. Maybe there, because we're going to have to clip off some of the ends there, aren't we? Probably should have done this beforehand. See if that will fit in behind there. Which it will. And this one we'll put in next to that one and put that in. So we're going to need to secure that a little bit more. And I should have put these on beforehand really, because what I need to do is snip off those ends. Make them level with the card layer, and that would have been easier before it was attached. It's funny how you just get carried away and these little things escape you. So I'm going to bring my snips in. These are really sharp all the way to the end, so that will cut off beautifully. And I can get really close to the edge of that. That doesn't look, that actually looks okay. That's fine. I don't mind that dangling a little bit, it just gives it a bit of extra texture. And then we just need to die cut our sentiments. So I've got one of the stitched shapes in the square for this. This is the second smallest stitch square. So again, we'll just run that through the die cut machine. Clunking and banging is perfectly normal, and that die cuts superbly. And we'll put a couple of regular dimensionals on the back of that and adhere that to our card. This is where I wanted that to be nice and loose so I could shove it out the way if necessary, because that's going to overhang there. Straight, yes. Okay, and we'll just clip that quite short, I think, just so that it's not obscuring our sentiments, like so. There we are, there's our Friendly Flamingo. There we are, bit of texture. And here is the original. So a little variation on the colours just to mix things up a little bit. Hope you've enjoyed that. I'm giving you some ideas of something else to do. It wasn't a stamp set that immediately jumped out at me, but I caved, and yeah, it's really fun to play with. Hope you've enjoyed that. Thanks ever so much for joining me. Do stay safe, won't you, everybody? And I'll be back again soon. Take care, everybody. Bye.